So let's talk about who gets paid and why that's important for your career and your success going forward. So there's a big problem with a lot of people when they go out to get advice, and one of the biggest issues is that they misunderstand who the person that they're getting advice is working for. So if I go to you for advice about me and my career or whatever else, there is an expectation that you're going to try to give me the best advice for me. And a lot of people seem to misunderstand and not realize that a lot of folks will give you advice that is best for them. I think about this after my stepfather died and my mother got his life insurance policy. She actually lost a significant amount of money, and the reason is she went to a financial planner that was not a fiduciary. So in the money world, a fiduciary is somebody who has to make decisions that are best for the client. So they're legally bound to make decisions that are best for the client. Well, here's the thing. If you go to a money advisor or investment advisor and they're not a fiduciary, then they can give you advice that is literally best for them. And so one of the things with the person that she went to is that the advisor literally got paid based off of the trades that she made. So the advisor didn't get paid based off of how much money she earned in the stock market, didn't get paid on anything like that, basically on any performance metrics. They got literally paid by the transactions that were done. So guess what? The more transactions she did, the more money he made, regardless of what that did to her bank account. And she actually lost a significant amount of money that way because she thought when she was going to this investment advisor that advisor was going to work on her behalf. And in reality, that advisor was simply working on his own behalf. And one of the ways that they can get away with this is the whole thing of, I didn't force you to do it. I told you that you could make this trade. I advised you to make this trade, but it was your decision to make this trade. So, I only said what I thought you should do, and then you did it. And this can cause people a lot of damage financially, with their careers, so on and so forth. And so one of the things that's very important when you go out for advice or mentorship or anything else is to understand who's getting paid and why they're getting paid. I think about this for myself topically when it comes to this whole the thing of the name project that I'm doing. So I did a video a couple of days ago, basically called Marrying Your Career. And the thing that I was talking about is that you have a large life. You have a life that is outside of your career and job. And so one of the things that you should be thinking about is, what do you really want to be passionate about? Do you really want to be passionate about your job? Or do you want to be passionate about your overall lifestyle? As I talked about, being a content creator, honestly, is not the best job in the world. Not trying to hammer that, not trying to kick a dead horse, but honestly, there's an idea that being a content creator is an amazing job. And I can tell you, as a 42-year-old that's run my own business and done a whole bunch of other things, being a content creator, it's an okay job. It has its good points, it has its bad points. It's a job. But the reason I continue to be a content creator, even though frankly I could make more money, I could do other things, is because the lifestyle it affords me, I am very passionate about. I love it. I mean, the fact that I'm in this travel trailer and in 6 days I get to throw the chihuahuas in here and we're going to go halfway across the country, go see Santa Fe, go to see Moab, go up to Estes Park, Rocky Mountain National Park, and just be able to screw around. The fact that I can jump in a travel trailer with my dogs, drive halfway across the country, and I can still do my work, I can still get paid, and that is something that I'm passionate about. Actually sitting here talking in front of a camera, that I could take or leave. But one of the interesting things is I saw a fellow YouTube content creator decided to jump into the comment section, and I guess not even really listen to the video that I had done, but since I said marry your career, basically they put this whole thing saying, I don't want to have a job that I hate in order to buy things that I don't want, in order to impress people that I don't care about, and he goes through this whole litany of self-motivational just garbage speak. Again, when I talk about things like passion, and I love my wife. I talk about things like love. I love my wife, and when my wife had cancer 2 times in 3 years, even though we had some of the best health insurance that you could get at the time, it still cost us $30,000. So again, when you start talking about passion and love, and it gets sticky. As a real adult, these questions get sticky. And I think people that get hyper focused on this idea of being passionate about your job, again, what is the value of being passionate about your job if you don't have money for your wife's health care? I mean, that's the real world of being an adult. But one of the interesting things is this person goes through this whole litany talking about, again, I'd rather be passionate about my job. I'd rather wake up and love every moment that I'm making money, so on and so forth. And so I go and I take a look at this person's channel. A person has like 500,000 subscribers, and I go to see what they do. And so basically they have a channel, and then they offer mentorship and advice, and then they have affiliate links. And so I'm going through, and this person has been, as he says, featured. He's been featured in all these different publications. But I go and I read. And one of them is actually in USA Today. And was curious, reading through the USA Today post about him, it was saying that he was making $15,000 per month. Well, that's pretty good. And then he talks about how he makes that $15,000 per month. So he makes that $15,000 a month off of YouTube ad revenue, off of advice, basically coaching advice services, and affiliate links. Well, I go and I take a look at how many views this guy is getting per month, and he's getting hundreds of thousands of views. So you have to understand, in order to make a real salary off of YouTube, you really need to make you need to have at least 1 million or more views per month. So if you're getting hundreds of thousands of views per month, that's good. I mean, that's something to be proud of to a degree, but that's not really going to be paying very, very many bills at all. It might pay for an efficiency apartment. And so if you take a look at it, then you see the other. So if he's not making all of that money, that $15,000 a month off of ad revenue, and then he's got affiliate links and coaching, then I go to take a look at his coaching services. And for $600, he will offer you a 90-minute coaching session. $600. He had another service for $1,500 per month, 3-month minimum. So you have to sign up for $4,500 total. And he has some package with all that kind of stuff. And if you look at the mentorship and everything that he's offering, it's very expensive. And so what you realize with somebody like this is that he's making his money off of telling people to buy things, again with the affiliate links, or by getting them to sign up for his coaching sessions at absolute ridiculous, just eye-bleeding fees. And so you go, well, wait a minute. So this person is talking about how wonderful and great and all that kind of stuff it is to wake up every morning and be passionate about what you do. And he sells his ability to explain to you what you should do. And that's something to be thinking about, is how much do you trust that advice? Because basically he's giving you the advice. He's giving you the advice that you should be passionate about every moment of your job. And if you want to know how, for $600, I can get on a 90-minute little Skype call with you. You think maybe that's where that $15,000 a month comes from? And so this is something to be concerned about, because what you have to realize with people like this is they're not fiduciaries. They're not fiduciaries. He doesn't make $600 when you go out and close an additional 1 sale per month. He doesn't earn his $600 when you're able to go to your daughter's recital that you haven't been able to get to for a year because you've been working overtime. He doesn't make his $600 when you have enough time to cook dinner for your wife or spouse and show you that you care. He makes his $600 simply by that transaction. You sit down and you talk with him, and however it works out in the end is how it works out. I think about this with things like boot camps. Boot camps are horrifying. And I went through boot camps. I actually went through 2 boot camps, Windows NT 4.0 boot camp back in the day and Windows 2000 boot camp back in the day. But that was one of the interesting things, is something to think about. Like when you go to these boot camps, like coding boot camps or whatever technology boot camp is fashionable right now, they'll go and they'll tell you how much money you can make, and they'll tell you all these wonderful things. But realize that person that's selling you that boot camp, they get a commission the moment you give them a check. They don't get a commission when you have a job. They don't get a commission when you get a $5,000 raise at the current job you have. They get a commission when you sign the dotted line. And so one of the things that I saw, again, when I went through the boot camp for NT 4.0, this was back during the dot-com era. This was back when you could open up the local newspaper and literally the help wanted section just for computer services was just massive. It was, frankly, it was about as thick as newspapers are today. It was just, there was so many. Really, it's hard to exaggerate how many computer jobs there were at the time. And so there were all these computer jobs, and then I went there to the first boot camp that I went to, and they talked about how they had their own recruiting services, and yeah, look at all the jobs out there, and we have recruiting services, and you'd walk in, and there'd be all these jobs posted everywhere, all these basically Monster, well, I didn't know what Monster was at the time, again, a long time ago, but basically these jobs, system admin, all this kind of stuff, and there'd be bulletin boards all over the place with all these job postings, and so I looked at that and went, oh wow, these companies are coming to this boot camp to look for high quality applicants. This will be great. Because again, remember, like for me at that point, I've been through the military training. I had my college degree, so I thought that would be great. Well, the thing was, what I found out is once a salesperson got their commission, once they gave me the training that they gave me, they gave me what they said they were going to give me on that point. When it went to actually getting a job, oh, those recruiters literally had no idea what the hell they were doing. All of those job postings that were all around the boot camp, those weren't job postings that had been emailed to them. Those weren't job postings that HR people had said, oh, we need a position for this. Those were job postings, literally, they went to monster.com and printed out the job posting and then tacked that to a board. So it was the same jobs that everybody was going for. And again, and for me, the only reason I was able to get a job, even then, again, with no actual IT experience, was because I busted my butt in order to get that first job. And so these are some of those things that you have to be thinking about. Again, like even with colleges, one of the most horrible things with colleges nowadays is so many of these colleges is about getting butts in seats. It's not about whether you get a job. It's not about whether you get a better job. It's not really about, securing your future. It's about paying for those fancy new buildings. I've actually looked at that with colleges and looked at the rising price of colleges. And if you actually read about it, what's very interesting is the drive of the rising price of colleges really is about new buildings. It's about climbing walls and Olympic-sized pools and all that fancy stuff that you see. That's what's driving the cost of so many of these new colleges, these colleges that are bringing people in. It's not better professors. It's not better academic services. It's all this fancy fluff around the side. And so you go there and go, oh, wow, you have all this nice stuff. So obviously you must be a good school. And so if I pay you money, I will be able to get a good job. And then you go and you pay them money and they all get paid. Their mortgages are secured. When you come out after 4 years, well, they did theoretically what they were supposed to do, right? Even with like parents, you have to be careful with even parents. As I always say, distrust, verify, and stay suspicious. You think about parents, you think about the needs that they have, the wants that they have. A lot of parents would like their kids to stay around the house, or basically stay around the area, right? They don't want their kids to go halfway across the country or all the way across the country. So sometimes that they'll give advice. Oh, I haven't heard good things about that university. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and they had a daughter that went to that university, and it didn't turn out well for them. So I really think you should probably, why don't you go to this local university? I think you would like that better. This isn't about your needs. This isn't about your career. This isn't about when you have kids and you're trying to pay for your kids' college. This is the needs of your parents, one way or the other. So a very important thing to be thinking about when you go out for a mentorship, when you go out for advice, is to be thinking about why are these people giving you the mentorship and advice? Are they giving it freely just because they want to do something like give back to society? Or are they somehow making money off of the transaction? And if they're making money off of the transaction, or they're getting some kind of real tangible benefit out of the transaction, you really have to think twice about whether or not you're going to take that advice, and you're going to have to verify it a lot more. Again, if I'm talking to somebody who has no stake in the game, just randomly no stake in the game, I'm sitting down, I buy them a beer and say, hey, I'll buy you a beer, just can you give me a couple minutes, tell me about this, right? That person, I may not verify their information nearly as much as somebody that frankly is going to try to charge $600 for 90 minutes. That kind of person, I'm gonna fact check. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna talk to a number of different people. So something to think about with that mentorship and advice is go out and talk to a number of different people. If you get something, you get a piece of advice from one person, go to another person, go to another person, go to another person. Look at those 4 or 5 people and see what matches. They're all gonna say different things. Everybody has a different opinion, right? But there will be some core concepts that will remain the same. And so go and take a look at those core concepts. Beyond that, one of the things that I do when I'm really looking for mentorship and advice is I always try to get mentorship and advice from the 45-degree angle. And here's an important thing to understand, is whenever you directly ask somebody a question, a lot of times weird stuff gets added to their answer, get their own insecurities, their own this, their own that, what they want for you. They'll layer their advice, or they'll layer their answer with a whole bunch of their own personal stuff. One of the curious things, though, is if you just go and you have conversations with people and you ask a question about this, and then you get an answer about something else. So you go and maybe you ask somebody, you go to a meetup, and so you ask them, oh yeah, what do you think is the most valuable coding language right now? And so they're sitting there and they're talking about that coding language. And that's, right, the what they tell you, that's going to be muddied by what their company uses. That's going to be muddied with what their personal experience is. That's going to be muddied with a whole bunch of things. But as you're having conversations about that, then you can just throw in just one of those little side things. Oh, okay, well that makes sense. So, I don't know, if you're going to learn something like that, is that a boot camp or is that a college? Or, basically what you can do is you can just dot in just little side questions. Oh, okay, so that's what you're saying. So most of the people that work at your company then, are they coming out of boot camps or colleges? Oh, yeah, well, we tried dealing with boot camps before. They don't really work. Everybody we hire is college. But, what I'm saying about Node.js is... right, and they'll throw those little things out to say, oh, that's interesting. So, how much do you pay the new people? And try to grab information when people really aren't thinking about what they're necessarily answering. That's another way that you can try to get good advice and figure out what you're going to do. But the important thing at the end of the day is always remember, distrust, verify, stay suspicious. It sounds pessimistic, but it's just honest. Just having been around this field, having been around life for a while, I found that's the best way to go. Whenever you ask anybody for advice, realize they may not be giving you the advice that's best for you. They may be layering it with whatever the hell is best for them. And especially with anybody in the corporate or the business world, anybody who is selling anything, you really have to ask yourself if they're telling you the honest truth, the truth that's good for you, or if they're trying to get that $600 payday. Because the problem is with most of these folks is the issue is they genuinely give you what you paid for. If you pay this guy $600 for 90 minutes, I have no doubt that he will give you 90 minutes of his time. What the value of that is at the end of the day, that's the real question, and that's where it gets wiggly. Well, you paid for it, and he gave it to you. It's not his fault if it's a load of bunk. So, one of those things to be pondering, something to think about in life. Just always ask yourself, who is making the money and why they're making the money, and really have that question in your head is this person essentially a fiduciary? Is this person going to be giving me the best advice for me, which frankly most people are not, or are they going to be giving the best advice for what will do them the best benefit? Those are two entirely different things, and they can screw you so horribly. And it's completely legal for the most part, completely legal. So there's something for you to think about, and I'll see you all at the next video.